Alright guys, we still have a crap ton more questions to go through on the Q&A, so let's get started. Have you ever thought of joining That Guy with Glasses or Channel Awesome? I submitted a video for the last talent pickup, and they ended up declining me, so their loss.
I'm gonna go build my own theme park with blackjack and hookers. In fact, forget the park.
What kind of camcorder do you use to make your videos? I have a Sony Handycam HD. It cost me about $450 when I first bought it, something like that. It serves me pretty well, though I have discovered how important lighting is. What kind of editing software do you use? I use Final Cut Pro 10. Very reliable, has a bunch of built-in features that are awesome, and it allows me to do a very wide range of crap. Will you eventually do an episode on the Sea of Monsters? No, I'm probably just going to keep teasing you guys until someone gets impatient and ends up murdering me in my sleep. Will you also do book reviews for just books? I'm actually planning on doing something just like that for a book called Monument 14, and with luck I'll have something out in a week. What is the name of your theme song? I actually hit this one surprisingly often. It's called Catwalk Short, and it just came with the editing program, as opposed to Catwalk Long and Catwalk Medium. Do you have a preferred class in D&D, and what do you value more, mechanics or role-playing? I've played all sorts of different classes in D&D. Bards, mages, sorcerers specifically. But I generally prefer playing archers, usually with a fighter build, although I have played rangers as well, because you get a free puppy. Now the reason I like archers is because they were my first class, really. But also because in my former D&D group, it actually took my DM 3 months to actually land a hit on me. See, I would always just stay in the back and snipe his monsters from afar. Oh, he hated that. Oh, and if anyone's wondering, I played Pathfinder. I'd like to say that I enjoyed the role-playing aspect more, except my particular group didn't really do that, and even when you did, it was often penalized because my DM was kind of a dick. And he knew way more about the game than I ever did, which he used against me. Regularly. Like one time I was playing a bard, I ended up befriending a troll, had him under a charm spell, and ended up turning evil for some reason. I made a deal with the devil or something, and that was an alignment change. So he ended up, my DM forced me to trick the troll into walking off of a cliff where he fell to his death, and just as he fell, he had this saddened look of betrayal at me, like, "Why? I thought you were my friend." It was like, fuck you, Dan, you're an ass. So yeah, I guess by default I'd have to say mechanics. Plus we were playing Pathfinder, and that game becomes so broken around level 11 that I was hitting about 95 points of damage per round as an archer. Good times. You can't make up if you want your hair long or short, so you just go back and forth. Am I right? In college, my hair was actually pretty long. At its longest, it got down to about mid-back. Now I keep it short, mostly for uniform regulations. Actually, a lot of the reason why my hair grows as long as I let it is because I don't like barbers. That was a lot of the reason why I grew my hair out as long as I did in the first place. I mean, you also have the little hairs that get caught in your shirt and that just bother you all day, which really annoys me. Also, when I was a kid, probably about 10 years old, my mom took me to just like a haircuttery or something like that. A crazy Asian woman ended up cutting my hair, and she managed to style it in a way I didn't really like. So it was like parted all the way over here. So I looked like I was 10 years old trying to pull a comb over. Well, of course I didn't like that, so we're up front, she's paying for everything, and there's a mirror that I'm trying to fix my hair in. The woman who cut my hair says something in, I guess it was Chinese, from the back of the room, charges at me with scissors in one hand and a comb in the other, and just grabs me and just corrects my hair to the way that it had been. Like if someone tried that on me now, I'd have to back up and say, "Lady, this is assault." That really put me off barbers or people touching my hair for years. What's your opinion on A Song of Ice and Fire and George R.R. Martin's writing style? In the first chapter of the first book, you have a group of Night Watch soldiers patrolling north of the Wall, and one of them ends up climbing a tree in order to survey the area. The writing style was so good and so crisp and so refreshing that I swear I could feel the sap on my own cheek as the soldier is pressing himself against the tree. I mean, not just that he's created some of the most likable characters of recent years, but he managed to take Jaime Lannister, who I hated during the first book. I could not wait to see him get utterly destroyed, tortured, and defamed, however the hell it would happen. And he managed to turn it around and make him entirely sympathetic by the end of, what, the second book, I think it was, maybe the third? I was in awe. He set up my expectations and then he completely altered them. That was, holy shit. Plus Tyrion. I mean, come on, everyone loves Tyrion. Who is a better fantasy writer, George R.R. Martin or J.R.R. Tolkien? I'd say it's kind of like comparing apples and oranges, at least the way that I see it. Tolkien, on one hand, did a lot to set up the fantasy universe and fantasy writing in general. You can see this just from the amount of people who say they draw influence from him. On the other hand, Martin's writing style fits a modern audience, and I've enjoyed his books more. Although from a cultural or literary history perspective, I also really appreciate Tolkien. So they're both awesome in their own ways. Kind of a cheap answer, but fuck it, this is my Q&A. Are you working on any books after MicroGod? Yes. If I ever get to sit down and write again ever in my life, I actually have a whole series planned for MicroGod, but I also have another series I'd like to go after called Luminarium. And I'm not going to really go into detail about what that is, just in case someone tries to steal any ideas from me, because let's face it, I'm amazing. But it is going to be a 5-book series set more or less in a contemporary world with fantasy elements. And this is me dreaming really big, but I hope it becomes like the next Harry Potter. Hey, aim big and be awesome, right? Do you read comic books? I haven't really read comics since I was like 10 or 11. I was really into Spider-Man for a while, and especially Venom, just because Venom was such an intriguing villain. Until one day my mom decided that she really didn't approve of them and ended up taking all of my comics and cutting them up. It was a little obnoxious. I also read Sonic the Hedgehog when I was younger. Not sure what ended up happening to those, though. Now, I actually do have a collection of graphic novels and whatnot. The only one I would really call a comic being Marvel Civil War. But I also have things like Jonah Hex, I've already reviewed Whiteout, V for Vendetta, Surrogates Wanted, and of course my 2 Tintin books. Comics aren't really my thing, partially because of it just feels so difficult to get into them. So unless you're dealing with some sort of an event comic like Civil War, it's kind of a challenge to get involved for newcomers. At least that's how I see it. What is your favorite review so far? Well, the one I'm working on right now actually is coming along pretty well. But since I still don't want to reveal what that is, I'm going to go with The Black Cauldron. It has a lot of technical complexity, at least for what I've done. It has a lot of good jokes, and it received a lot of positive feedback. Plus, the script wasn't that difficult to write, and every time I have a good script, it just makes the episode easier to make. Do you read manga or watch anime? What kinds? This is going to be a longer answer. I used to actually be the president of my college's anime club for 1 year. I am what you would call an old otaku. So I was into the older stuff. I'm not really into the newer stuff anymore. I've seen a few episodes of things like Sword Art Online. I've enjoyed Attack on Titan. That was actually a lot of fun, and I'm waiting impatiently for Season 2 to come out. I suppose one day I actually could make like a top 10 list of my favorite animes and manga, things like that. I actually do have a couple of series down here on the bottom of my shelf. I have the 2 seasons of a romance called Ayori Aoshi, which was from a friend back in college. He was a complete dork. His name was Eric, and he ended up getting me into the series back when I was younger, and a bit more of a romantic. It's not bad. It's your traditional harem anime. It's all right. It's not my top 10. I also have the entire series of Iruka 7, which was actually my brother's favorite anime, and I stole these. All 12, I think it is 12 discs. I stole them from my brother, not a store, I should clarify. I also have Berserk, and anyone who's seen this knows exactly how goddamn awesome it is. Not just from a holy shit, that ending is dark kind of a moment, but also just from a writing perspective, because this is actually a really solid story. I mean, good characters, good plot, a lot of awesome action scenes, and oh my fucking god, that ending. I also have some Rurouni Kenshin somewhere around here on the middle shelf. I don't feel like taking that apart. If I have to point out my favorite anime and manga, though, easily the number 2 slot goes to Full Metal Alchemist, just for being incredible, having a unique story, having a lot of fun characters, having incredible action, having a lot of great plot twists, and a lot of awesome humor. What could top that, though? Naoki Urasawa's Monster. Hopefully I just had a bunch of people cheer in the background there. Monster is about a doctor named Kenzo Tenma, a Japanese neurosurgeon living in late 80s, early 90s Germany. And he's a genuinely good guy. He's good at his job because he likes helping people. The problem is that doesn't mesh very well with the hospital director, who cares more about social standing and money. One day he disobeys a direct order from his hospital director just because he had a moral conflict with his orders. A child had been shot in the head, and it looked like it was a political assassination because he had escaped from East Germany. He was living in West Germany. His parents were murdered, his sister was severely traumatized, and the boy still had a bullet in his skull. In his brain, actually. So it was an extremely delicate process, and Tenma was the only one in the hospital skilled enough to actually do it. A little after that, the mayor of the city came in. Forget exactly what was wrong with him, but the hospital director decided to play favorites, ignored the rules of triage, and ordered Tenma to step out of the surgery he was about to perform and aid the mayor, because that meant more social standing, more funding. It would make the hospital look better, which would advance the hospital director's career. Tenma actually had a huge had a huge conflict of interest with this morally, and said, no, this is wrong. Disregarded his director's orders and ended up saving the kid. Totally ruined his career. He was stripped as his status of chief surgeon. He lost his fiancée, who was the director's daughter, and he was told that he would be permanently blacklisted from transferring to any other hospital, so attempting to advance a career in any field of medicine was a waste of effort. So it looked like his life was effectively over for the sake of saving this child. That's when the murders start. The child is actually revealed to be the one who killed his parents, and it spirals into this amazing murder mystery of intrigue and history and politics, and so many things are just so right. The characters are so rich, the backgrounds, the settings, all of these conspiracies they have going on, because you even have the Czech secret police getting involved at some point. And I'm not gonna reveal anything beyond like the first book or anything, of course. But the boy Kenzo ended up saving turned out to be one of the biggest monsters in Germany history. Oh god, I want to talk about this so much right now. It is like 74 episodes in the anime, and I think they're not even done making these. These are the ultimate, or what are they calling it? Ultimate collection, I think it is. There are going to be 8 of these, and this is a big book. I have the other 3 already ordered. I have the other 5 up here. Just see it. Yeah, there they are. And a lot of the mystery and a lot of the fun comes down to what could drive an 8 or 9-year-old child to become that prolific a murderer. And the series follows Kenzo's attempts to stop him as he goes all around Germany trying to hunt this kid down. The villain's name is Johann, by the way, and if you watch a lot of like top 10 villains of anime, the ones who know their shit will put Johann in the top 5. I'd put him as number 1 myself, just because he's so manipulative and so dangerous. God, this is by far, Monster is my favorite anime and manga series. So I'm gonna have to cut myself off there before I continue fanboying. But seriously, if you ever get a chance to read or watch the anime, do it. Anime is not available in the States, I don't believe. It hasn't really been transferred overseas. There are fan dubs online, though, if you look for them.